Hey guys, Joe here doing a one take. Probably, I don't know how this one's going to download onto my computer, but we'll check it out. Today we're doing another look at another pew pew. I am still kind of not back to full-time uploading. That's why there was nothing last week, as well as the fact that I went out of town for a week. So I am back now, but I'm still going to work slowly back into making weekly videos or twice weekly videos for the pew pews. Today we're going to take a look at one of my favorite brands. This is Canik. Canik, or Canik, is a Turkish company. I will not tolerate people telling me that I'm supporting a terrorist by liking a Canik firearm. I don't give a crap about the politics, not on this channel. I have my personal opinions. I keep those to myself. I am sorry if you don't like that, but you're gonna have to deal with it. This is a firearm, this is not a country. I'm supporting the firearm, not the country. This is a Canik. This is not a TP9, which is something that is actually rare for Canik because the majority of what they've imported has been the TP9 series, which has been a wildly successful series. It's packed just like a TP9. First, we'll take it out. This is called the METE, the METE. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but it is a almost Walther HK style 9mm semi-automatic with a plethora of add-ons. This one is on loan from Liberty Arms. It's $475, just like most of the Canik stuff. And what you're going to get for that $475 is pretty damn impressive. You get the firearm, of course, and as I showed, it is clear. You do get 2 magazines, 18+1. You do get an extended base pad on one, so that should be a 20+1. And then you also just have a little bit of a magwell that you can put onto the gun as well, so you can make this almost competition-y. There's lots of tools, and we'll be going over those as well. You will also notice that this one is optic ready. We'll be talking about that in a minute. And of course, Canik, you get a free holster, a free speed loader, and then a bunch of stuff in the top of the case. Now this one has a few extra things. You do have your cleaning brush, your cleaning rod, space for extra tools should you need it. Another back strap, just like the TP9 series. That's nice to have in case you're not comfortable with the grip that it has on it. It appears to be a little bit more of a bulbous shape than the one that's on there. You get a punch, which is nice to see. A lot of times you don't get those. That's for punching out the pin to replace the back strap. But you also get this little guy. Looks like a little toy, keychain, whatever. But nope, actually you open the base, and this is a screwdriver for the optic set, which is kind of cool. It's got all your different Torx bits and your screws and your lock washers and everything you need to change your optics on it. Just kind of a neat little thing they give you. And again, the barrel of this thing is actually the tool, which is kind of cool. That was a bit of alliteration. Underneath the other foam cover, you have your owner's manual and whatnot. Let's get all this out of the way. Actually, since it's an FDE, I'm gonna keep this in frame. Hopefully it'll also help keep the shot in focus, pardon the pun. You also get, and something that is unexpected for a lot of optics ready firearms, is you get your plates for adding different optics on it. I'll pull that guy out too. The punch does like to flop out of its holding area, so you have to be a little bit more careful with that. Let's take a look at the firearm itself. Like I said, this is kind of HK inspired, especially with the long slide lock, slide release. Obviously, it has a standard style push release that is not ambidextrous, but it does look to be reversible. And that light just turned off. Let's do that. I don't know why it does that. Sorry. If anybody knows anything about those UBCs, whatever, the ring light that holds the phone, let me know. But again, optics ready, and you get to keep your rear sight. That is something that on the TP9 you lost it because the plate came all the way back. This one allows you to run a rear sight behind your optics so you can co-witness. You need to run a taller sight, I think. Although these are probably a medium height, dovetailed in both the front and the rear. Front and rear slide serrations, very easy to grab. It is ambi for the slide lock, slide release. Do the ambi test. It does work on that side. Some guns, it's very difficult to run the ambi slide lock, slide release. Has a 1913 style pick rail on it, so you can easily add your lights, lasers, bazookas. Like I said, it does have a magwell if you want a little bit more of a competition style. Just slots right on, and then it uses a set screw, which was in the gun model. So you can add that, and it is aluminum, so it's not just a plastic mag well. And once you do that, obviously, your mags fit flush. They fit flush, pardon me. Drop-free magazines, probably made by METE, because they all are. Yep, METE. That's the guy. They're the go-tos, man. If you don't see METE on your polymer double stacks, what are you doing, man? Otherwise, it's pretty nice. Has a loaded chamber indicator on the top. It has your the external extractor, which is absolutely normal. Chamber lockup, well, like most of these striker fire guns tend to be. I have taken this one apart already, so I do know one trick that we're going to go over when we talk about it. It is single action only, so once you pull the trigger, the action is dead unless it cycles. You see that little red blade there? That is the lock for the trigger, or the safety for the trigger. No other external safeties on it. Unless it's actually depressed, the gun will not fire, which is nice to have. Obviously, it has an internal drop safety as well. The grip is very nice. It has these panels both on the front strap, which is nice to see. You don't see that all the time. That helps with holding the firearm. It has raised bumps on the back. That's good. It's actually a very nice, mildly aggressive texture. They've undercut the trigger guard, which is nice because some people like to get a really high grip, and that's definitely helpful for that. A little bit of stippling here on the side for your go pedals, so keep your finger off the trigger and you're right there. Overall, it's got everything that most of you would want in a striker fired gun right off the bat. Let's go ahead and take it apart. In order to do that, actually, before we do that, let's talk about the trigger pull. Trigger pull, it's Canik, man. These things are probably second to Walther in terms of striker fire triggers. Just nice and smooth. You got your regular take up, and then you can see how little pull there is once you're at the walls. And then your reset is right there, very audible and very easy to feel. A little bit of play out of the reset, but you just hold it there. You can just, without overstepping and pulling the trigger, you can just come right to the wall and then break. Probably a 5-pound trigger, which is amazing. The slide lock slide release, this is more for a smooth setup, so it doesn't snag inside your holster, which is fine. Obviously, this is not designed to be a competition pistol, but I bet you this thing shoots amazing. Wouldn't mind to own this guy. That's where you guys come in. Subscribe, do all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and take it apart. Before we do that, lock it back, nothing in it, nothing in it, nothing in it, nothing in it. Then, because it is a striker fired gun, I know it's not all of them, but the vast majority, you do have to pull the trigger once you drop your 2 tabs. I like this style because it's a much fatter tab, easier to grab, doesn't hurt your fingers. So you do have to pull the trigger, push the slide, and then it's going to do that. It was one of the things I was going to show you. This ejector actually is in the way. You cannot start it like you would a traditional gun. You can see that. We'll take a look at that once we've finished taking a look at the gun itself. Take your guide rod out. It's got a lot of tension, but it is captive, so you don't have to worry about that bad boy flying away. Next comes out your barrel. Just traditional style, tilting lockup. Very nicely made. Looks to be pretty darn sturdy. Wonder if they were going to make this in a 40 cal, because that's a pretty thick barrel. Inside, you got your drop safety right there. There's your striker there. Looks like there's a lot of cuts in here for lightening up the top of the slide, which is fine. That's good. That means they paid attention to how fast it cycles. You want a gun that can't outrun itself, otherwise you're going to get misfeeds. Looking inside here, very traditional style. Again, you have your lockup right there, and then back here you have your trigger mechanism, your springs, your everything that you need to drop. Overall, very traditional. Yeah, pretty nice in there actually. It's polymer. Can't really say much about the construction of the frame, but the slide seems to be very nicely made. Reassembly, just the reverse. Drop your barrel in, take your guide rod, small end goes towards the front. Sits in the pocket. It's a little bit tight, mainly because this is a brand new gun. Make sure that the spring is horizontal and not in a cockeyed position. There we go. Gonna have to double check that when it's on the gun, make sure it's not too low. Here's the trick. Because of the ejector, you actually start the slide behind the ejector. Once you do that, you just pull it back and you are back in action. So, what do I think of this? Well, I have to take it out and shoot it. Again, it's very Walther HK-like in some of its features. I like that. Construction seems to be of high quality. Canik seems to be making really good firearms. Again, I don't want to get into it with politics and what they've done. We can call up Springfield and all the companies that manufacture firearms that supported gun lobbyists who are trying to get rid of guns. So we don't need to go through all that junk here today. We're not going to do that. So just support your local gun shops. Go in, check out a firearm like this, pick it up, $475. You're talking $100 under a Glock that's optic ready, and you get a lot more stuff with it. So put this in your hands, see what you think of it. Let me know what you guys think if you bought one and you've already shot it. I'll be very interested to see what it's like, and maybe I'll pick one up. So that's about it. I'm out of here. Joe, Jiminy Show, all the good stuff, and I'll talk to you later.